What up, guys? Welcome to Base Damage. And this week, podcast, I had to double check the number 55. Continuing from last week's AoT set review slash discussion. As always, this is Kool-Aid, and with me is Waifu Wars. What's up, bro?
What's up?
AKA Bentley, as in the most fabulous person, you know.
Yes.
And
the gayest Weiss Schwarz player ever.
Possibly, I don't know at this point. We'll have to take a poll for that at some point on one of the Facebook pages. And then also from last week as well, we got Frank. What's up, bro?
Hey.
Welcome back, and thank you both once again for joining me on this. We have in this corner TLR, in this corner AoT once again. This week it will be decided. No, Actually, I think it got decided already, but that's whatever. Anyway, obviously, before we get into the continuing the set discussion, this week we're going to be discussing the red and the blue cards. So, if your waifu's coming up, whether that's in core form or Titan form, to each their own. We do have a couple of other announcements, if I can talk straight. While I know I said a while back I may end up not looking into but so many more JP sets or trying to discuss too terribly much in the JP format unless I have someone else present with knowledge of JP format, I'm going to have to exclude this next set from that and completely and totally go over that set. Gurren Lagann got announced for a Weiss set. Woo! I've ever since I've, began watching anime years ago, nothing has stayed at number one on my list other than Gurren Lagann for that long. It's just I'll love all these other ones. FMA was at the top for a long while, and then Gurren Lagann just one of the most amazing series, personally, in my opinion. That's whatever. To each their own, but a set got announced for JP, really hoping for English. Frank's already I'm buying a fucking case. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh, yeah.
We were discussing possible effects that's just going to trigger people and all, so we'll have to see how those come out, predictions-wise. Let's see. The other big was going from, extremely happy moment to also extremely depressing moment. We do have to give a word of or have a moment of silence, but just for anyone who has kept up with the internet in general and the Kimono Friends characters and memes that get dropped, there was a really famous penguin that it just was referred to as Grape Coon, and he ended up dying recently, so it's been a really big thing, where they basically posted up a picture of one of the of Hululu, right? Is that right, Bentley?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was the name or not. From Kimono Friends, one of the penguin girls in there, and he ended up being really happy around this little cardboard cutout. So it just became an internet meme thing for a while of just even a penguin can have a waifu and stuff like that. So sadly, it was reported that he died recently, so that was kind of really sad. So rest in peace, Grape Coon. You will be greatly missed.
Yeah. At least he'll be in heaven, like the series itself.
Yeah, that is. Oh my God! What if he got word that there was a thing a while back where the creators or animators or something like that had helped make it all got fired, and it's oh, no set or no season 2. What if he got word of that? What if somebody tweeted him that and he just couldn't take it no more?
Yeah. He was really adorable. I heard that reports are from the zoo that he was in, when the penguins were on their lunch break or whatever, he'd be the only one that be next to the cardboard and spend time with it.
It was really adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Something about he was also really depressed, and then when they actually put the cardboard in there, he was really happy being around it. So much so that to get him to eat, they had to take the little cardboard thing out. and like the voice actress for Hululu like came to the zoo and like met with him, and he was just as happy for some reason. It was like really, really adorable and sweet. So, rest in peace, little buddy. So it was destined to happen. So
Yeah.
Anime saves lives.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I honestly know, going back to Gurren Lagann, I know people who have been saved from depression because of Gurren Lagann. Like, I straight know people who were like would have been ready to kill themselves, and they're like, yeah, no, I watched Gurren Lagann and I'm completely fine now. And I kind of condensed that down, but the conversations were like a lot deeper than that when I actually talked to them. But
Yeah, that's how I feel about Boku no Pico.
well then, interesting, but I mean, to each their own. But yeah, so outside of that, one of the things that we did mention in the podcast last week was erratas, and one of the titans that one of the Aaron Titans we mentioned had an errata. I wanted to wait till the English Weiss site actually posted it up, so it's like a legit thing and not just us going by word of mouth type thing. Which is what I tend to do apparently on a lot of stuff. Obviously, we knew the Hanji, whatever. There was a misspelling of the name. We already pointed that out. We are going to be going over some of the red ones today, but I figure we might as well go ahead and get to these beforehand. Hidden Truth Reiner. The only errata for that was that there was a little bracket missing for his effect for the cost, which I don't really see how that would make too terribly much of a difference, other than I know usually like in the rule book it states whatever is mentioned between these brackets or a parentheses is the cost type thing. So I don't know if that actually affected. I don't think it's going to affect it, but that's whatever. So just a little clerical error there, as opposed to some of these next ones. One of them is blatantly obvious, where it's like, oh wow, they fucked this up completely. But this isn't it. The Aaron Titan Single Ray of Light, the level 3. Where it initially said until the end of your next turn, it states until the end of the next turn. So it's not your, but the. So this... Please...
So it's basically like instead of 3 turns, it's 2 turns.
Yeah, I was going to say, because
Yeah,
there was an effect that basically lets you summon this on your opponent's turn, right? If I remember correctly.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
So it's just the turn that it's played like that. So you ain't got to worry about... this being too terribly big for that long. So, but at the same time, just that can still affect it. That is still like a wording and a word change that can affect and change up the duration of an effect. So that's understandable.
Yeah, and even that region was like from my own experience, like I had to explain like the errata to like Project Darkness or whatever, and like some people still didn't understand it, so I had to like get a judge and stuff.
Yeah, that's one of those ones I realized was going to be a big problem with specifically Project Darkness. So, I know it's been mentioned before, but there was like a just going off an errata thing as far as like big changes. There was actually a Disgaea card that was a completely different color. I know it's been mentioned on this podcast before, but I just was there are levels of minute things that really ain't going to affect anything versus that. And this is one of those also for the Until the Dying Breath Reiner, which is a level 1 0 cost 4K. Initially, it stated when it's placed on stage from your hand. That is incorrect. The correct one is actually when it's put into your waiting room from the stage. So when it dies is when the effect goes off. So big difference there, as opposed to on play versus on death. So that is a big, change in timing and it just entire effect. I know they fucked up a Megumine recently. It actually had like 2 problems wrong with the effect. What the effect did, like it actually didn't state to add the card to hand. And whatnot, and then it was still like on play as opposed to on death or something like that. Whatever. So it had like 2 big corrections. So there's always going to be erratas or whatever. I might end up trying to take a podcast one day to actually just go over again like all the major erratas, just so people kind of have a point of reference. But that's whatever. But as far as from AoT, that's the only big ones right now. But we're going to get into the the red cards for this. Both of y'all can see the screen good from the screenshot?
Yeah.
Okay, making sure. So obviously getting right into this, we're not going to be able to cover every single card, but we're going to try to touch up on like more of the double rares, the rares, a couple uncommons and whatnot, and anything else that we feel just needs mentioning. So to start off with the red, obviously we got to go into the double rares with everyone's smile of the goddess. You know. For anyone who had not read the manga or has not seen the second season of the anime, spoiler alert, Shizen happens. You know, just if this is major spoiler territory for a lot of stuff, from character name changes and shit. You know, it's whatever. So, anywho, so we're gonna get right into this. I'll start off with this one, and I'm actually gonna need you to just verify something for me on the effect when we get to it, Frank. But for this is a Smile of the Goddess Krista. It's a double rare. So the first one of the red cards is a level 1, 0 cost, 45, 1 soul. I try to keep an eye on the 1 soul things now, or like as far as like soul count. There was a Megumine in the Konosuba set that we missed, and we're like, why does it have this effect up here? And supposedly the drawback, or like the reason it had the drawback was because she had 2 soul as a free cost. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, I didn't catch that at all. And someone else had commented on it. And it's like, yeah, this is why. And I'm like, oh, okay, so try to keep an eye out for that more often now. If you have 2 or more other core characters, she gets 1,000 power. So just constant, essentially constant 55 if you have enough cards on field. If you have a back row. And a climax combo with the card My Name, ... When the battle opponent becomes reversed, if the climax is there, put up to 1 card from the top of your library in your stock. So gain an extra stock on top of after having just triggered one, so you get 2 stock of 1 attack, always good. And choose up to 1 anti-Titan gear, 3-dimensional maneuver gear in your waiting room, return it to your hand. This is where I just wanted to verify because I hadn't checked it just yet. That is the level 1 events between the search and the bounce back effects, right?
Yep, that's correct.
So this is the same.
And it combos with a gate.
It's that's what I was going to ask. Also, so it's a 1K1 gate trick, so salvaging. Basically, this also in the same way that the Aaron grabs back that yellow event. Mm-hmm. There wasn't. I just got to double check this, just make certain there wasn't any red versions of that event.
No. No.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no red versions. The red event from Volume 1 is the pairing blades that shoots level 2 or lowers.
Gotcha. Okay, I remember you had said that. I just couldn't remember if I didn't know if they were trying to add in more of that, like how Nizukoi has the promise pendants, and they're like 1 for each color.
Yeah.
I honestly kind of would expect them to do that kind of thing as well, especially if you're having multiple colors that get back the same name card. It wouldn't surprise me if that's something they would have tried to do, but apparently they didn't. So,
yeah. This card's pretty decent. It's a pretty solid card. I mean, it's a good alternative if people choose not to play the Aaron, because I mean, this card does give you a lot of stock by the time you're done with it.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to just pay with doing between the new mobility gear, brainstorms, whatever that is that you need to do during your turn. You're just gonna have plenty of stock to just do whatever you need to do.
Absolutely. And it is an optional effect. So it just says put up to 1 card. I say optional, but that means up to 1 means 0 and 1 for anyone who didn't know about that. So you can choose to put 0 blind stock. But sorry, cut you off, Finley.
I was gonna say I think the reason why more people lean towards the level 1 Aaron double R combo is because it's on color with the event itself, so it makes it a bit easier.
Completely understandable.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't say I blame them on that either. It is nice, like you said, like a nice alternative. This is probably also cheaper than the Aaron.
Oh yeah, it's definitely like half the cost. Like it's just like $10.
Oh wow, that's still amazing. So that's understandable, but at the same time, I would probably, if I had to pick it color wise, like you said, I'd probably go with the Aaron as well. Or if you have a waifu preference, we have waifu wars here for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So,
Americans best waifu, that's why.
I hear you. All right, so going right along, what was the order we did last time? It was like me, Bentley, then Frank, or
Yeah.
All right. Alrighty. So if you would, Benley, if you would get the next one here, the Harbored Thoughts Mikasa.
Harbor Thoughts Mikasa, double R, 3/2, 9500 power, 2 soul, core and weapon trait. If Fate Shouldered Aaron is in your clock, this gets -1 level while in your hand. When it's placed from hand to stage, it gets 1500 power for the turn, so it's 11k for the turn. And when it's placed from hand to stage, you get to look up to X from top of your library. Choose up to one of them and put it to your hand and ditch the rest. X equals to the number of your core characters. So if this is lost, obviously you get to look at 5 cards deep.
Digging for your climax combos, essentially, and other stuff like that. You can dig for whatever you want, but because it states choose up to 1 card amongst them, you can grab anything, including climaxes. So that's always good. I know that was one of the ones. It was only teched in as a 1, but there was a Maya in TOR that people always teched in like at least 1 copy of to try to dig in case you needed it. In case your Gentle Time just did not want to show up.
It's nice that this card, like the clock requirement, is a like good 1/0, and then like that card can also go back to your hand as well if since you're running the combo.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
All right. And the buff is always good too. So once again, just pretty good all around. And you said the Fate Shouldered Aaron's a 1/0?
Yeah, it's double R from the set.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's basically the card that I'm playing in my deck.
Gotcha. All right.
Very super consistent.
Yeah, I'm still basically learning all the names. So, like, even though I've looked at the Titan cards more than I have the rest of it, I still am trying to learn all of the Titan card names. So, alrighty. So, getting right into it. Oh, damn, I should have gone last for this one. But, it's whatever. Frank, can you see the screen good?
Yeah, you can see it pretty okay.
Alright, so if you would, please.
Alright. Okay, so to seize Freedom Sasha is a double rare, and its effect is if your opponent has a level 3 or higher character, it gets -1 level, so you can early play it. When this is placed from hand to stage, you can put the top card of your deck to the waiting room, and choose up to one character level X or lower character, and put it to the waiting room, X being the level, so whatever it is that you mill, including a climax. So if it's a climax, it counts as level 0. So based on the level that you mill, you shoot a character. Anything on the opponent's stage, essentially. So the last effect is, when this attacks, if you have 2 or more characters, this gets a soul for the turn.
Which, that's actually kind of nice. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think Resisting Fate, Aaron, had an early play condition the same way as if your opponent had a level 3 or higher.
Yep,
yeah.
Correct.
So, yeah, Bill, you remembered something. Also, Potato. Sorry, had to throw that.
Yeah, she's pretty good. Yeah, like I like that she gains more souls, so like she can hit pretty hard. And then I also do like the second effect. It's pretty much like the Katsuhiro from Kisniver. So sniping a character is pretty fun.
Yeah, especially their back row, because like the back row is really important for your opponent to like keep a field basically.
Especially since you can include climaxes, that means depending on who you're playing, especially if it's like a Kantai player or once again TLR, if they got the anti-salvage cards, you're able to go, oh well, even if I mill a climax, get rid of your anti-salvage and all that jazz. So that's whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact that it does count all of those just means you can always, you always have a option to as far as like you always are able to choose something if your opponent has like the levels. So that's really good.
Yeah. And you can do just something basic like hitting something in their front row so you can have a lane so that you won't be afraid to be anti-changed.
Yeah. Oh, I see that they're like all of their climaxes are in the waiting room. Well, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and bounce this, or get rid of this one in this stage. Sasha's swinging for 4, type thing. Just not saying that's always going to happen, but I've seen it happen. So
it's actually nice that you could side attack with this card and still get the soul.
Absolutely. Like, especially if you do it at level 3. Play like a 1k1 or whatever, and I need to poke for exact amount. Oh, that's done. So that's always really cool. I need to poke you for exactly 1. Good, I got 4 soul anyway. So side. So awesome, really cool, and obviously Potato. Might be best girl. I don't know. To each their own. Mikasa fans fight me. What? Just kidding. All right. This was another rare. This was the other rare. So there's only 3 double R's for the red. So, I I think I actually pulled a copy of this. So Ray of Light Mikasa is a rare. It's a 0, 1500, 1 soul. During the attack phase, when your character moves to another slot, that character gains 500 power and the ability for the turn that the character opposite cannot side attack. It's specifically during the attack phase, so more than likely, like, I know there's like some effects that shift on your turn, but there's more that do it on your opponent's turn. If I'm not mistaken. So that can be kind of helpful. Obviously, if you have like the 3D maneuver gear, or one from the first set, like you can always do that type of thing. So it's, oh well, you're trying to just side with this character, and no, you're frontaling me. It's whatever. And then Brainstorm, always good for brainstorms, especially when it's just a pay one and resting the character as opposed to having to rest like 2 characters. Mill 4, for every climax, choose up to 1 character in your waiting room, does not limit to just core, also, just saying, and return it to your hand. If it was also like a Titan character, you could get them back. It's whatever. Just stating, like a lot of stuff like that's kind of trait restrictive. Or like you said, or if it's like resting 2 characters. So
if you're running the Titan build and you're like splashing red for the 2/1 Reiner, this is like your easy color way to like fix into red.
Oh, absolutely. Because I did see those effects and I thought they were kind of cool. Like they'll probably get mentioned just because. Once again, this is where it goes into spoiler territory. Was a level 2 Reiner and a level 2 Burnholt that turn into the Armored Titan and Colossal Titan respectively, as far as just being able to go right into a level 3 early on at level 2, as far as like no real like big restrictions. I think they end up going to memory. Was it?
I think so. If not, I believe they go to the waiting room.
If one of the two. So but that's one of the things is they're obviously trying to encourage the splashing of other colors into Titans instead of just always mono blue. That's whatever.
Yeah, gives it better consistency because just doing mono blue, like they don't really have a lot of utility. It's just playing a bunch of memes on the board and that's it.
Grab ass and smile. What? But yeah. Sorry, that face.
Oh, fuck this card.
What?
You hate this card?
I played against this card so many times. It's annoying as hell.
Okay. Oh, yeah, no, that is annoying. Okay, I just realized what this read. Oh, shit, that would suck. Okay, I just realized a couple things. A couple cards this just kind of shits on. Like, just straight up. Especially, like, because of at level 0. But Melee, since you hate this so much, how about you trash talk it some?
Alright, this is on Unending Appetite Sasha. It's a rare 1500 power level 0 core weapon trait. It's a regular reverser, and it has an ability also when the battle point of this becomes reversed. If you have 3 or fewer cards in your stock, you may put that character on top of the library.
I just realized, like, Kantai hates this because then that goes no Hibiki, any as far as like the on reverse stuff like that. Question, because this is a 0 reverser, this brings into a rolling question I have. If this does this and hits another reverser and it hits a clock bomb, stock bomb, any of those, and if it puts it on top of the library first, because if it's your turn and you're doing this, do their other effects go off? Do the character that they reverse?
Your effect gets turn player gets priority. For the Hibiki, Hibiki is only 1k power, but like if they have like 2 Hatsukazes, then yeah, this would work.
Yeah.
Or like if they have 1 Hatsukaze.
Yeah. If you have like a buff, that's whatever. But even then, I'm just as far as like, I know that would stop Hibiki, just because I've had that come into play before, actually, with another set against another player. So that even stops reversers and stuff like that. It gets them off the field and they're not able to activate it.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
One thing that's like I would say is kind of like a downside for this card is like I've done this before against my opponent, is like if they do have 3 or less stock with this card, and then like you can just like crash one of your characters into it or whatever, and then like it goes obviously to top deck. Then like your next attack will be at least a clean stock because it's the top deck card.
This is true. I actually do like how that plays out then. Oh, okay. Like, you kind of have to plan it at that point, but at the same time, that is an interesting little way to play around that effect. I do see where you're coming from on that. That's kind of nice.
I think the more common, more popular choice for the bombs for AoT though is the TD one, the Aaron, because it's 1K power, so like it can match with Hibiki more easily, and then it has a pretty nice effect with when it direct attacks. You can give someone 1K, I think.
True.
But I guess it's just preference as well.
On the reverse of that, because reversers, that also means if you do this, get a character off the field like a Hibiki or whatever, you could then swing with another character and almost guarantee damage to stick, type thing. So just on the flip side of that, just I understand where you're coming from. It's just interesting ways of being able to use this card and this ability. So okay. Also, just because she's tearing into that meat boy. I don't know why I say it like that. I'm so sorry. Next, if you would, Frank.
Oh yeah. Temporary Respite Krista. It's a rare, and its effect is if you have 2 or more other core characters, this gains the following ability. When this card becomes reversed, if the battle opponent was a level 1 or lower, you may reverse it. And then at the start of your opponent's attack phase, you may mill the top card from your deck to waiting room. If it is a core character, you may move it to an empty slot in the center stage. So it's a running bomb.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Obviously that you're good if you still have like back row or whatever, but that is kind of funny if your opponent is like, oh, I'll just reverse it with a level 2, and put a level 2 in front of it, and then still have like level 1s or whatever. Yeah, I can see where that's the mill runners have always been a interesting topic of discussion as far as a lot of players on some of the Facebook pages. So I always like to see this kind of stuff to try to trigger them. That's whatever.
Yeah, originally back before the set came out, I was originally, or on release day, I was originally wanting to run this as a 2 of in my build, but as I was doing like color, as I was counting colors, I realized there were some little inconsistencies I was dealing with in terms of color, and I realized I had to put more yellow. So then I was like, this card is so good. Like, I love that it just runs and you can bomb something to like just anything that you want to bomb, you just get rid of it, and it's just like I realized that I had to cut it because it was just it did not match with the consistency of the build that I was running.
Yeah,
that's understandable.
But overall, it's a pretty good card.
Like if you did have the room for it, basically, if you didn't have to do the color fixing, this would definitely be something you say you would run.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Alrighty. Also, Nap Time Maki meet Nap Time Krista. But that's whatever. Next we have more Sasha fabulousness. As far as like when we were talking about like the mill runners and all, this was also fairly interesting, but it's so much bigger. Until Death Sasha is a rare. It's a level 1 cost, 55 power, but if you have 2 or more other core characters, she gets 2k, so she's a 75 essentially. Just at the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can put top card of your library in the waiting room. If it's a core, you may move this to an empty slot in the front row. So this also doesn't state because some runners state weirdly enough that like if they run, that has to be to like a character in front. I guess the mill runners kind of take that off as far as like not having to have a character across from it. But this is one of those funny runners of fight me. This purposely wants to run in front of stuff that it knows is smaller and is just a fight me nerd type thing. Or in this case, I don't know.
Yeah, I played against this card too. This card's pretty annoying.
Yeah.
All the milling, all the running.
This card is basically just like it's like the 1/1 Sasha from Volume 1, but like instead of having the clock on core, it runs instead.
Yeah.
I do remember that Sasha. I've seen quite a few people play that. So that one could get particularly annoying, but at the same time it was whatever. Just because more potato, why not? Needs to have a third trait here, guys.
Hashtag Sasha.deck.
Absolutely. I realize I'm going through a whole bunch of Sasha stuff at this point. I left some stuff up here. This is one I kind of specifically wanted to mention. I mentioned it to Bentley earlier, but if you would, Bentley, because this climax combo on this is actually fairly nice to me personally, but that's whatever. But if you would.
All right, this is Archer class. I'm just kidding. Snipe after Sasha.
Wow.
Uncommon level 0.
I'm sorry.
Core weapon trait.
That caught me funny.
It's 500 in front assist, and then it has a climax combo with a red stock soul. When the climax is placed in your climax zone, you choose one of your other characters, and that character gains the following ability for the turn. So when the battle point of this becomes reversed, look up the top 4 credits from the top of your library and search for up to 1 core character, reveal it, put it to your hand, and ditch the rest. So it's like a Manami effect.
Mm-hmm.
Without obviously, but
yeah.
still a good check though.
Amelia also did the same effect. I don't remember how big her buff was.
Amelia was on attack.
It was on it was on attack, not reverse. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, as you were stating that after the whole Archer class thing, my brain's going, I am the stomach of my sword. Potato is my body and meat is my blood. Then my brain was coming
That's
up with an
pretty good.
Unlimited Blade Works thing for it. Hashtag Unlimited Potato Works. Done. But this is another, as far as, this effect is off of one of the main advantage engines of stuff like Idolmaster and a couple other sets. Not one of the main ones, but also one that is used sometimes. There was an Asuna from the SAO re-edit, but it was like, look at up to 3 cards. So the fact that this can be given to any of your core characters off of what you said was a stock soul, red stock soul from Waiting Room and Soul Across the Board?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just the fact that this could be done at multiple levels, regardless of what the level of the character is. Like, okay, I know that I've buffed this up enough, it can reverse stuff. I like seeing this as opposed to restricted to just like a level 1 engine.
Oh yeah.
On top of whatever else you want to run at that point, but I do like that this being a level 0, able to give this to someone else is really nice. Sure, you can't do like, once again with like Nita Minami, people just throw down 3 Nita Minami and then just proceed to mill their entire fucking deck.
Yeah.
But I just do like, if you have 2, you can still do it off of 2 characters for basically free. There's no like stock payment other than you just have to reverse the opponent's character. I just thought that was really good.
I think with AoT, like the set, like the series in general, like it never had like a problem with like getting reverses too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the power at level 1, so it was really good. So.
Oh yeah, always had like really high power in that regard. Also, as far as a lot of the other advantage engines are usually higher rarity, this being an uncommon was beautiful to me. So.
Mm-hmm. And then like at worst, like if you're running like, my friend does this in his like waifu, like Sasha, Krista, and Mikasa build, is you can give this to like the level 1 Krista bomb that we ran over. So it's like a
good point.
Yeah, so it's like a kind of guaranteed reverse.
Mm-hmm.
This is very true. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, and the side note, the class card, like it has an alternate art, and the funny thing is that it's just basically her. The only difference is that one has a closed mouth and one has an open mouth.
For real? Okay, I need to.
Yeah.
I need to look this up.
The climax. Yeah, like
Can't you
for some reason, Bushiroad's sense of alternative art is just basically, we just make a different picture that looks the same thing and it's alternative.
Are you? What the fuck, Bushi?
Yeah.
Okay, like. I mean, sure, it'll have the shiny and what I think it's this one's going to be the one that's the what do you say?
It's
SR?
actually just common.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right. They did do that for a lot of them. Oh fuck, it's not even like an SR triple rare hollow type thing.
Nope.
God, I know they did that with a couple different sets where if it's like a triple rare, they'll do an alternate art and whatnot. This isn't even that. Come on, Bushi. Just what the fuck?
Alternative facts.
It's weird how like one has flavor text and another one doesn't have flavor text as well.
Yeah, you would think that this would still have like her yelling something, but this is run. But just that's it. Like what? Okay. I don't know what to do at this point. That's funny. Just funny little side bit of information for you there. So, yeah. Sorry. Still one more Sasha card for the red before anybody else recommends stuff. I just wanted to say this just because it can't side attack, but it gets potato. The meme continues. So that's all I wanted to point out there. Okay. Whatever. Any other red cards you think that need to be pointed out, Frank?
Oh, there's one in particular. One red card that I think is very underrated is the Until the Dying Breath, Jean Kirstein.
Until Dying... I'm trying to find it. Sorry.
It's all good.
I am... Until Death, Jean. Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Billy can find stuff. As it decides it has to load. All right, so Until Death... Well, you mentioned it, so you would be the next in line to read something anyway. Go for it, bro.
Yep, so Until the Dying Breath Jean is just only a common, which is the best part.
True.
Because you can pull... So when this card is placed from hand to stage, you can look at the top card of your deck, and you can either leave it on the top or put it on the bottom of your deck. And then when it attacks, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a core character, add it to your hand, and then you discard a card.
That's actually really good.
Wait, isn't this Sayaka and Mami?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, when I read this card, I was like, it's probably Jean, like, I was just like, at first I was like, it's Jean Kirstein. He doesn't get anything good in this set, even though he's a pretty good supporting character. It's like, it's probably nothing special. And I looked at the card, I was like, this card is amazing. I was like, and it's only a common.
Yeah, no, this is actually really good. If for anyone not putting two and two together for this, look at the top card of your deck when it's played. Okay, well, is this a card I'm going to want off of the second effect or not? Okay, it is, leave it there. It's not, put it on the bottom of the deck. Especially if you see it's a climax, put it on the bottom of the deck is really good for that effect. And then, like I said, when it's on attack, reveal it. Oh, I wanted this anyway. And if you especially if it was something you didn't want, the card you checked first was something you didn't want, you can try to dig towards something that you actually want in your hand and then hand filter. This is actually really, really good in that regard. As a fucking common.
I think it's
cool. It's a common. I was like, bruh.
I'm sorry.
Holy Jesus.
Go ahead, Bingley.
I think it's cool that like the first effect is a scry basically, but then like it's used to be like on a blue, but now it's like expanding to like red now. Like you think it'd be like reveal like and then like you either keep it there or you mill it. That's usually like a red ability, but now it's like but now they're doing scry for red, which is interesting.
Which they seem that they're trying to do that anyway, as far as like a lot of effects that used to be generalized to one color or another. Clock Shoot used to be like solely green, but I've seen a couple Clock Shoot cards on what was it, fucking Megumine from Konosuba, which is red, and stuff like that. They're trying to obviously like try to branch it out, which I thought was kind of cool. So, so like you said, this is mostly on this scry effect's like mostly on blue. There was a blue abyssal I can remember recently, as far as like the most recent thing I've seen with this effect. So yeah, no, dude, that's really fucking cool. So, okay. Definitely, anybody wanting to play this, this is definitely, what'd you say, 3 or 4 of?
I'm playing 3 of it right now. Like, it's just so consistent. It just gives you just almost exactly what you need. And it also helps with, like, digging out, like, your climax combo pieces. It's just like, it's like, oh, hey, look, it's the 1-0. Attack with it first, and then just grab it and put it in your hand. And you're like, well, I'm set up. And
that's
it's just
fucking weird. I've done that before.
It's like the best common in the set, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's great. So okay, just definitely mandatory. Like if you're doing core, this is something you want. So okay, any other major ones from Red? While you're thinking of that, another thing, like we thought Bushi was going to be trying to include the standby triggers in a lot of the sets that they try to put out as far as new ever since Bang Dream. This actually does not have a standby trigger for the climaxes. The My Name was a salvage. The Can't Run was the stock soul. Thank You.
Thank You is a split 2K one.
Oh, okay, split 2K1. This is off of the...
That's to the level 3 to Seize Freedom Mikasa.
Yeah, I was going to say it was the Mikasa. And I actually kind of like the choose 2 characters split 2K1 as opposed to just the draw 2K and a soul. That's actually, I prefer this a lot more. So, any other big cards in
Oh
red?
yeah, you can go over the 2C's Freedom Mikasa, because I don't think we went over that, and that's like a pretty noticeable card.
We did?
It's the best card in the set.
Yeah. It's in the rare status, so that's why.
I probably just accidentally looked over it. That's my fault, guys. I greatly apologize.
It's okay. We saved the best for last.
There you go. This is the 2C's Freedom Mikasa. So this is the climax with Thank You. When this is placed on hand from it's rare, 3/2, 9/5, 2 soul. It's placed on stage from hand. Draw up to 1 card. This gets plus 2,000 power for the turn. So 11/5 minimum before anything else. And when it attacks, if Thank You is in the climax zone, you may deal 1 damage to your opponent. Also, when the battle opponent of this becomes reversed, which is outside of the normal climax combo, you can just do this anyway. You may pay the cost when the battle opponent becomes reversed, which is 2 stock. If so, deal 1 damage to your opponent. Just all the burn, dude.
Yeah.
You get a free burn, you get an extra burn. Like, even if your opponent... That's one thing like people obviously don't like for like the on-reverse effects with like clock shoot and whatnot. They'll try to get the character off the field or just ram characters. This goes... I don't care. I'm still poking you for at least 1 off of the climax combo effect alone, which is just really good. So, okay,
and then the
cool.
last effect works on either player's turn as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of scary.
Yeah, there was sorry, just thinking of this. There was the new Leafa from the level. I think it was a new Leafa. I know there was a Nico that had like a clock shoot effect that was active on either player's turn. So, you're just gonna try to ram me, and you only you're at 3/6. GG. Straight up nerd. Like that is. Oh my god. That is. Yeah. I apologize for not having this queued up already. This is definitely really good.
What's weird is like in Japan this card is actually really cheap for some reason.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand.
Yeah, in JP apparently the favorite there is the Crimson Wool Aaron.
Like, I can still understand that to a degree, but I feel that this should probably be played more. Like, it's to each their own. I understand. I don't even, like... Mikasa is still, like, even fabulous as a character. I don't consider her, like, favorite or anything. That's to each their own, but this is still really good. I'm kind of surprised at people who are, like, that's whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and the best thing too is that like because the climax is a 2K one, you can like choose like let's say if you have two of these Mikasas on the board, you can choose to like not give it to this card and just give it to like some other character, and then you can have it burn 1 and then attack for 2.
Yeah,
which is pretty nuts.
Absolutely. Like also because it being a split 2K1, like we said before, with the plus 2K she gets 11/5. If you do give that to her, that ends up being her being a 13/5 before anything else. So it just it helps with the reversal thing. So
and then like at worst, even if you don't like run the climax combo, you could still technically like splash it because it could still burn without the combo.
Absolutely. And then the drawing's kind of whatever. Like that's still always good. But the fact that it hand trips itself is just always good. It's just maintain hand advantage and just keep going. So yeah, no, this is definitely good. So yeah, thank you for mentioning this, Bentley. I am so sorry that I did not have this queued up.
It's all good.
Any others that I may have forgotten?
That's pretty much it. Those are pretty much all the major ones.
Yeah,
like they have like a nice mix of like as far as like a whole bunch of cards. Red ended up I think having the most cards in it for this set. Because it starts at 51, whereas the first 2 had like 25 each. This goes down to 33, if I'm doing the math right. Essentially 33 cards. And then blue only has 15, something like that. Not counting promos, but yeah, so still really good for that. And with that, we'll go ahead and get into the blue cards. Any others? See, there was a red promo. Does that need to be mentioned?
It's like okay. It's essentially it's like a 1/1 counter card, and It's kind of like an Ashigara counter clone, because you can boost like your character to like 2500. So it's like all right.
Okay, cool. And also chibi. Can't go wrong there, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Like the
obviously,
chibis. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, the chibis in Volume 2 are a lot better than the ones from Volume 1, like, because they're at least somewhat playable if you choose to play them.
Absolutely. Like, I actually just recently got more of the original chibi Colossal Titan. It was still pretty decent, but yes, whatever.
Mhm.
Actually, I think the chibi Colossal Titan from the first set ended up doing the exact same thing as Petite Mikan. It gave like a 1500 buff to something on play.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, by comparison, obviously, Petite Mikan's like, what, $20, $30 or something? I don't know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anywho, my saltiness as far as that, when I was trying, I never got any Petite Mikans for my builds, so it's whatever. So, getting into blue, I went over the Mikasa. So, if you would, Bentley, get the Force Reconnaissance Beast Titan.
It's a rare level 0 1500 power Titan trait. It has an effect, an auto ability, discard a preying upon Titan from your hand to the waiting room. At the start of your climax phase, you may pay cost if so choose a level 1 or lower character in your opponent's front row and put it on the bottom of the library.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a interesting brainstorm effect where it's pay 1, rest two of your characters, flip over the top 4 cards of your library and put them into the waiting room for each climax revealed. This way, choose up to 2 preying upon Titan in your waiting room and return them to your hand.
I actually did not have Preying Upon Titan queued up, so Preying Upon Titan actually had 4 different arts. So we're just going to kind of show the first one. Because, hey, with Bushi, it's probably just the difference of the mouths being open, right?
Yeah.
But this
It's the meme Titan.
The meme, yeah, just ooh, you touch my tra-la-la. It's just kind of like the thing. It's like, I'm sorry, it's the bedroom face looking thing. It's just kind of posing like, hey, you know you want it. So it's this, which is you can have as many copies of the same name in the deck, and then for each of the other Preying Upon Titans in the front row, it gets 1,000. So it can basically become a 65. So being able to do this, you can pitch copies of it for the. Let me find the right one. Getting rid of your opponent's characters and or just getting them back. Just basically getting back hand advantage off of every climax at this point for the reveal, which is pretty cool. So that's really interesting because I can't remember if that's what you have to pitch for the level 3 Beast Titan. I don't know. Yes, sorry, since this was the next one queued up anyway, I'll go ahead and just mention this. The synergy between the two. So, actually, Frank, you're next on this anyway, so if you would, please.
Yeah. Here we go. All right, so the Beast Titan, the level 3, so it's just a rare. So its effect is when this card is placed from hand to stage, it heals. And then the climax combo is discard a card. Well, for the cost, you pay 1, discard the Predation Titan from hand to waiting room. And if it attacks, if intelligence or sentience in the English set is in the climax zone, and if you have another Titan character, you may pay the cost. If you do, deal 4 damage.
So wait, it's Predation in English?
Yeah, yeah. Preying Upon Titan is the Predation Titan in the English set.
Yeah.
So Predation.
So it works with the level 0 as well from the first set.
Okay, I was like, wait a minute, I completely did not realize that was the correlation between the two. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. So you can have all of the level 0. You can use the level 0 predation or the level 1 predation. That's actually really cool in that regard. So, and you said, I remember the change in the name for that was Sentience. Is also a 1K1 book trigger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody?
So it's fairly similar to Sinon, Last Shot Sinon.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. It's like minus if it gets reversed into memory, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even outside of that, this is like also because if the burn gets negated, it doesn't get a buff. Otherwise, this is the exact same thing as Last Shot Titan. I still say Last Shot Titan.
Yeah, it's technically a cheaper cost too because it's only pay 1 and ditch a specific card.
Which is really nice if you're able to run 0 and 1s as far as the copies of that. and then the Brainstormer can get copies of it back. That's just really cool to me. Like, the synergy between the two cards for that is just really nice. So, like, I initially would have only stuck with the Invasion Titan. As far as for the deck for the Titan builds, is whatever. Because it works off of each single one on the field, but that's whatever. Okay, so that's just really nice. And the fact that that is just an extra type of finisher. Like, Last Shot Xenon's one of the best finishers in SAO outside. Basically, it's between that and Switch Combo, or basically like the two main finisher things for SAO at this point. So that's just really cool how the fact that Titans get this, I just laughed like for probably 5-10 minutes, just straight laughing. It was great. What do you call that weapon? Just the flavor text for a whole bunch of these, because he actually talks. I'm just saying, he actually talks in the show, and I can't remember who it was that he was talking to. The human that he was talking to shits his pants because he's like, what the fuck? This has never happened before. Like, it just blew his mind completely. So that was really. I just can't remember who it was that was talking to him.
It was Mike. Or Mike.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the second best soldier.
Shoutouts to Marco.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I had to give a half a shout out.
I forgot he existed.
Yeah. I mean, only half of them exist anyway. That's whatever. Sorry, anybody who doesn't know the meme. So that's really cool. Coming back around to more level 3s that got put out. This is the Armored Titan that the level 2 Reiner changes into. If I remember correctly.
Yep,
yeah,
that's correct.
Is this one? Okay, cool. So it was Frank last and then me. Okay, so Second Coming Armored Titan is a rare. So that's another thing. Just no double rares as far as this. I think was the Brainstormer wasn't a double rare, right?
It was just a rare.
It was just rare.
Yeah, right.
So Titans, no double rares. Sorry. Second Coming Armored Titan is a 3/2 10k 2 soul. During battles involving this, no player may play backup from hand. So that's only character backups. That doesn't count events. So sadly, he can still get Compass and Project Darkness. That's whatever. When it attacks, if engaging in combat or duel in English is in the climax zone, you may pay the cost, which is 1 stock. Which I should also go ahead and state it's a 1k1 pants trigger. So easily trying to get back the copies of it is pretty decent. If so, this gains 1,000 power and the ability until the next end of your opponent's turn, or the next end of your opponent's next turn. The character opposite of this gets -2 soul. Then at the start of your opponent's draw phase, if this is in the front row, choose one of your characters and that gets 4,000 power for the turn. So he get big. If you give it to himself, it's like 15.
Yeah,
this card's pretty nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this card, for me, if I were to play Titans again, I feel like this card is, I'd run this combo within the Sinon combo over the first set with the Exodia, the 3-piece Exodia set, and then the Anti-Titan, just because, for the turn that this attacks, you don't have to worry about just side attacking with this card because they can't play their anti-change backup against this lane. So if you play multiples, it can be pretty annoying. And then on the swing back, your opponent has to deal with a 14k. I mean, obviously they have bombs or whatever. It is what it's and then the -2 soul for English at least that's not really an issue. It's not really a threat. Not many sets have that besides the only thing I can really think of is Kantai with their blue level 3 combo, and that combo doesn't even get played as much.
And
then
Soryu. Yeah, Soryu kind of.
But in JP, there's one of the meta decks right now is called Rewrite, and then they have an early drop that heals, and then it also combos with a pants where it gets at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, it gets the -2 soul by removing the marker that it gets from the climax combo. So it's pretty annoying when you actually experience this type of effect, especially when you have no early drops to do some damage, or and you have to crash with your your lowered characters for only 1 soul.
Mhm.
so it can get pretty frustrating. And it just opens you another lane. It opens another lane for you to direct attack with, so you don't have to worry about like being anti-changed again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because that's being able to not like go ahead and like swing with this and not have to worry about anti-change is just really cool.
Mhm.
Like, admittedly, it depends on the anti-change that your opponent has to use for that, depending on the set. I definitely ran the level 3 anti-titan from the first set that does this effect as far as the minus soul.
Mhm.
Which a lot of people are like, oh, that's not that good. Sure, it may not be the best thing in the world, but when your opponent sticks to nothing but I'm just going to throw down like level 1s and 0s and just try to ram you and just over and over and over, I really enjoyed being able to throw down the anti-titans and make it so they just had like basically 0 soul, even if they like triggered crits or whatever. It's whatever. I thoroughly enjoy seeing this type of effect as far as like the -2 soul. So.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Buff is nice. Does it keep the 1,000 power also until the end of your opponent's next turn?
Yep.
Yeah. That's
Okay, cool.
that's
So
what
actually-
it-
So he goes up to 15.
Damn. Do be buff.
yeah.
But yeah, that is really nice. So, all right, wait, who was you were the last one that just
Yeah, Bailey was one. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Next
yes,
one's me.
I'm next.
all right, gotcha. Go for it, bro.
All right, so here we go. So this is the Chasing Titan, or in the English set, it's the Pursuit Titan.
Wait, was it Bentley next or you next?
Oh, Frank can go. It's okay.
Go for it, dude. All right, I was like, wait, I got confused for a second there. Sorry, bro.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so as I was mentioning, so this is a Chasing Titan or Pursuit Titan in English,
Mhm.
and it's just an uncommon, and its effect is when this card becomes reversed in battle, if the level of the battle opponent is a 0 or lower, you may put the character into the bottom of the deck, and then its last effect is pay 1, send this card to memory, choose a Crimson Will Aaron in your waiting room, and return it to your hand.
This definitely had to be mentioned because the fact that it does combo with one that I think it was the Crimson Will Aaron.
Yeah.
As far as like other effects that actually work off of this being in memory, there was also the Aaron event. They do like burn damage based off how many of these were in. This is another one of those that has like several alternate arts. It's like 3 different ones or 4 different ones. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So rip head off, and what else do we have?
And then the rest is just like Titans running, and then the other one's like Aaron running in the distance.
Cool.
The 500 power is like really relevant as well against like
Yes.
Hibiki
Mhm.
and like
That's-
and bottom deck is like pretty annoying as well.
Yeah,
it's like
this card's
another
really good.
damage.
Yeah. That's like you said, like, that is very much relevant because I was going to say that as well. Like, yeah, it is very much. You're almost guaranteed. There are very few things that get only down to 500 power.
Yeah.
And it's usually a really good or fairly decent effect when it does go off. So, also to note, the getting the Crimson Will Aaron things, it's an act.
Mm-hmm.
It was just freaking awesome. We'll just be able to, if at any point of the game, of just play this. You don't have to worry about it being reversed or anything of that nature. A lot of those you got to worry about being reversed or whatever. Which, okay, if it's only 500 power, you're good anyway if that was the case. But this makes it so you can grab the Crimson Will. I was going to say Crimson Will. Can't talk straight still. Grab the Aaron and then just immediately go off playing it. If you're like right at level 3 and you don't have it in your hand yet, or level 2 or whatever, you can just immediately go off, which is just really, really cool. So, yes.
I think you can also like technically like if you do splash like the coordinate event or whatever, you can kind of control your burn. I guess. As like that's kind of cheeky, but like.
Which
from
is
the-
coordinate?
It's the yellow event from the recent set that we went over.
Okay. Just pulling it back up for people who do not remember, because I actually do not remember it immediately. I'm certain once I see it, I will. Oh yeah, no, this one. You're right. Yeah, this was the burn one. Because you deal X damage equal to the number of the pursuit chasing titans in your memory, and then once you do, you take one from your memory and put into the waiting room. Okay, that's a good point, because you could do the chasing titan thing, go ahead and have one in the memory, get the Aaron, play this, or or just increase the amount of burn that you could do overall if you wanted to at level 3, because it's not a backup event; it's just a regular event.
Yeah, and even if you don't have like the Aaron in your waiting room to like get it back, you can still technically just pay the cost to put it to memory.
Absolutely. So that's like you said, it's just really good synergy the way that can go off. The fact that is an act versus it being an on reverse auto or whatever. So that's just really cool. So and the other arts, this dude is like some hardcore, like, damn, even WWE doesn't do this type of shit. Like, damn. Just saying, like, okay. The last one I wanted to personally mention was this one, because I thought this was just really cool, the fact that Titans got this. But if you would, Bentley.
Okay, this is Until Goal is Fulfilled, Armor Titan, also best husbando.
There you go.
Level 1. Titan tree, and then it's basically a 2K costless backup for Titans.
Yeah. Basically exact thing of the Wrapped in Ribbons Maya from TLR. There's like a couple other sets that have these costless ones. There was an Asuna, Vice Commander Asuna. So you also know now, if you ever want to beat Bentley, all you have to do is summon Armored Titan, and just you probably won at that point, because he's like, oh yay.
This is also a nice addition to the Titan deck, because I think the only counters that they had was like the one. It's a 1/1 basically 3K counter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that one's still nice for just doing one stock. I can't remember if it was splittable or not. I think it was all in the same character. I could be wrong.
I think
it was just a straight up 3K.
Straight up 3K.
Yeah.
It's still very, very nice, and but the fact that you don't have to pay stock for this makes this personally better, in my opinion. Because if you were doing the Exodia quote unquote combo in dropping memes on people in the first set, you didn't want to have to use your stock unless you absolutely had to, because you had to have a certain amount of stock to be able to do your shit. This makes it so I don't give a fuck. So very nice and really cool in that regard. And even then, if you do like that Anti-Titan was the way that if you did the entire combo, you could get the Colossal Titan from the first set up to like 17,000, and then with the Anti-Titan he became a 20,000.
Yeah.
It's like people would get so close. Shout outs to my buddy Marvin getting up to like, I forget what deck he was using, but he got up to 19,000 with some character. I think it was off of Unlimited Blade Works, one of those sets for that. They had like some nice buffing effects anyway, but he got to 19,000. He's like, yes, I'm gonna break the wall, and I'm like, nope. So it was just so cool. So yeah, that's like some of the main stuff, because like I said, Blue didn't get too terribly many cards, but what it did get was actually really cool. And then just like all the other stuff they got for all of these colors is amazing. Any other things that should be mentioned as far as Blue? There was another Chibi Colossal Titan. I'll check that in a second here.
There's an event that like is pretty interesting. Like
that's right.
The spoiler. Season 1.
That card's actually really nuts.
Yeah, it's actually really good, and like the thing is, this happened at the end of Season 1. If you haven't seen this at this point, watch after the fucking credits, and a chunk of the wall falls off, and you see this eyeball there, and that's just where it leaves you at the end of the first season. Scoot 4 years into the future, they're looking at it going, what the fuck is that? Look at the Catholic Church, or whatever the type of church they're looking at, and they're just a priest. Explain this. You got any explanations for us for this shit? And just this was really cool to see. But yes, this counter within the wall. Here, Frank, if you would.
Yeah.
Or was it you next?
Walls?
Yeah, good. You're good.
Yeah. So within the walls, it's a 2/1 blue event counter event, and its effect is look at up to 3 cards on top of your deck, choose up to 3 of them, and put them in your waiting room. Return the rest of the deck and shuffle your library, or shuffle your deck.
Yeah, library is deck for anybody who has never played MTG. That's what it was always referred to as in MTG, was library. But yeah. So this has a couple things. Like, one, it's a little bit extra mill if you know if you know you've seen a majority of your climaxes or just all of your climaxes and you just don't want too terribly much damage to stick, that's whatever. Or just getting cards off the top of the deck that aren't climaxes anyway. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
What other potential uses could this have? The fact that it's an event, you can still do it on your turn, but the fact it's also a counter on your opponent's turn is still really cool.
Yeah.
Also, another thing to keep in mind, and it's kind of ironic, is that it's Pastor Nick. He's a green card. He lets you salvage back this from your waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
The downside, though, is that he has no traits, so you can't search him.
That is so weird, though.
Yeah.
Like there's a minimal amount of cards in this game personally that I've seen that have 0 traits whatsoever. And when you see them, they're like, "What the fuck is this doing here?" So, it's whatever.
I think this card is like definitely worth like testing or at least trying out if you're learning Titans.
Agreed. Like, definitely at least like, especially a test thing. What would you say would be a decent number for like even just testing this? Like,
I'd
2?
say at least 2, yeah.
Okay.
Because I know you'd still run like the first event where you like the 1-0 event.
Oh, absolutely. You if you do the Titan decks, you got to run the invasion of giant trees or giant tree forest, whatever. Fuck.
Yeah, that card's amazing.
Yeah. I don't care about taking damage at that point of using that card. That is a great card. Okay, so definitely worth the mention of this. This is definitely something to check out. I personally will also be testing this once I get all more of my stuff. This is interesting. During attack phase, you cannot return characters from your waiting room to hand via your own card effects.
Yeah. It's not really a downside for Titans since they don't really have any salvage during attack phase, especially.
The hell, like it's just like you said, it's no real downside. Yes, you can't return. You can't return.
Yeah, I can't find any of your character, like any Titan characters that does that to Titans, unless you're like somehow splash like Gate Trigger into Titans, but I don't see why you'd do that though.
Not
since
at
you
all.
have, like, climax combos.
Yeah, you can still do the Pants Trigger and grab back the climaxes.
Yeah.
But this is also at 0. That's kind of whatever. So okay, cool. Just interesting little things here and there. But yeah, any other ones should be mentioned? Intelligence/sentience was the 1K1 draw.
Yeah.
Engaged in combat or duel was the Pants Trigger.
Yep.
There were some other level 3 Colossal Titans that was like okay.
Yeah.
I didn't like. It had an effect that stated your opponent the opponent across from it couldn't frontal attack, which is still really cool. Which one was that? Enemy of Mankind?
Yeah, it's that one.
Or Third Battle was a different one we looked at earlier. Talking about it's a 3 cost 11k, only 2 soul. Usually, if they do a 3 cost, it's like they give it 3 soul. That's whatever. If it's in your front row, all your Titan characters get 1500. I figured if I was going to go ahead and mention the effect, I might as well go ahead and just go ahead and show the card. But this is kind of like hefty of a cost, but it's still figured I'd go ahead and mention it. At the start of your opponent's attack phase, if this is in the front row, you may pay the cost, which is discard 3 Titan characters from your hand to the waiting room. If you do, choose a character opposite this. That character gets -1 soul and the ability that they can't frontal. So they are forced to side against him, which is, that's whatever. I do not feel that this effect is worth the discarding 3 cards from hand. Like,
yeah,
even late game where you're like, okay, maybe this will win me the game if my opponent has to side. That's whatever. Like, sure, Titans don't have a compass or a Project Darkness in any way, shape, or form. So while this isn't the worst thing in the world, it's definitely not the best. Personal opinion. If this is your waifu, whatever, just.
And
I think the only way.
And like the certain matchups like Chilleroo.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if they have hexproof, you can't do that anyway. Right? So I mean, because would this affect target? Because I realize there's clock shoot doesn't target.
Yeah.
Choose a character. Okay, good. Got you. Just confirming that because that's what I would assume.
And then
Yeah.
making up for like the 3 costs, like the only way you could like ever like really pay that up front without a problem is if you were like to like brainstorm with the Beast Titan and just consistently get like one climax like every turn or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like insanely, like playing all your stuff and then somehow still getting that effect off, and then get back like 4 fucking Titans or something like that, or like 2 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, and you don't want to use that synergy with this card. You want to use that for the fucking last shot scene on the Beast Titan. That's what you're going to want to use that for, not this. Just saying.
Yeah.
But so there are other level 2. This is also uncommon. Like, okay, that's kind of cool. There's quite a few things that got put in here. There's a Yimmer Titan that runs. There's stuff. Anything else that should be mentioned?
No, that's pretty much it, I think.
All right.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Okay. So I know we've been going for a decent little bit here. So we'll probably just kind of give our like closing thoughts and wrap this up in a second here. Just saying once again, rest in peace. But yeah, no, like this overall set to me it's got a bunch of little hidden things. You kind of have to look at it closely and go, oh, this plays this way, or it combos with this, and you can do interesting little things. And that's kind of how AoT Core has always kind of been, in my personal opinion. It's just always the stuff that you got to see how it works and then look at how it synergizes. It doesn't like just immediately throw it out there. Like it doesn't immediately just say, oh, play 3 of this, drop a climax, done. It's you got to look at how the stuff sets up and look at how it all just plays with each other in the most non-masturbatory sense. That's whatever. So it's really good, and there's new event cards and new engines. Like the level 1 Aaron once again was just really, really good. And just this level of stuff that Core alone can do is just amazing. So that's my personal opinion on it. Really awesome set, and really interested to see everyone's builds, like all the builds that come out, because I'm certain at some point a new AoT deck is going to top at some regionals. I realize I also have to watch out for this set as well next week with the regionals. So I have to watch out and see how many AoT players I have to go up against. So I'm waiting to see what the builds turn out to be. I know Frank sent me basically a copy of what his is right now, so I'm going to be going over that and kind of researching more stuff. So, but that's my opinion. Really awesome set. Either of y'all got finalized thoughts on as far as your opinions on this set in general?
I think, well, like, I don't want to reiterate too much from what I said previously from the last podcast, so I'll just, like, try to provide my thoughts on, like, the colors that we went over. I think for red, like, it's, like, still a really strong color in AoT. The new cards provides something for, like all the core builds, I feel like. Especially, like, for example, even, like, the Mikasa Aaron focus decks. The new level 3, like, provides, like, another source of finisher. So especially for like if you want to do like waifu Mikasa, because like her level 3 was only like the healer that's field swaps. And then you could technically run the level 2 Mikasa with the gate, but then I think the new level 3 is a bit better. And also with like Krista, that's also like really good red cards. And then for blue, for Titans, I feel like it's not a joke deck anymore. Like, it actually is modernized, and like it's actually something that like worth noting, like especially if you go to like regionals, because the Titans build, like even if you look at like JKTCG prices or any other English prices, Titans is still like a pretty cheap budget build, but it's like a actually playable deck since it has like all these modern effects. And like it fixed with the issues of like how from the first set Titans, they could still be like anti-changed or whatever, and that was the issue. But where this new set with the new Titans, like anti-changed isn't that much of a problem as it was before. So that's all I have to say for the new colors.
Yeah, no, that's a fair thing. A quick note I wanted to point out in that regard, as far as, like you said, anti-change was one of the biggest things. I knew a player at my locals that ran the Exodia Titan deck that I was playing Kantai, and he's like, wait, you have that anti-change in your deck. And I'm like, yeah. And he scooped. Like, he just straight scooped because he knew that I had it. And I'm like, dude, I mean, we could play it out. I might not end up actually getting it. He's just like, I'm not even going to worry about it. It's going to wreck me if you do. I'm like, wow. So that was like a big fear in people's heads as far as that. So I was like, I mean, maybe that's a more extreme sense of it, sure, but yeah.
Yeah, it always like sucks when you like get anti-changed or whatever when you like attack is like you just didn't realize it or you like they weren't paying attention that they were in it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, dope. But yeah, that's ours. Frank, obviously being the bigger AoT player here.
Oh yes.
Thoughts?
Yeah. So yeah, I can't emphasize how much I really like the set a lot. It's pretty much given a lot to both, like all four colors that just very satisfactory. Just a lot of colors got different new effects that really boosts it up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like, and now I like that now we're not stuck. Like, I like that now AoT has just so much more variety to play with now, and it's not just stuck with just almost the same builds over and over again. You just do so much with it. Like now with Titans, you can now, I mean, because you can still play the Colossal Titan deck with some new updated cards in the set, but now you can also play now a new Titan deck that you can play like the Beast Titan deck, and on top of also like playing the Armor Titan, which like playing in at level 2 is really strong because you're just sitting there with this Armor Titan, you're just gonna keep doing damage, and it's just very very nuts, and then now with core, we're not stuck with just doing like 2 builds being red yellow and red green yellow, and doing the Levi squad pretty much all the time, being stuck with that climax card being the climax combo being the best one, and now we just have all these this multitude of like climax combos that are very good, and it's just very very solid overall. Yeah, overall, very, very 100% happy with this set. Nothing in this set really disappointed me at all. Very, very 100% satisfied with this set.
Agreed. Like this, I definitely like this. Like, as far as after all of it came out and seeing all of it, even as spoilers were coming out, I was like, holy shit, So. I think
this is like the better one of the like along with like Komodo Friends, this is like one of the better like design sets of this year so far. Like it's not too like power creep or anything. It's just like fairly like balanced, but it's still like it helps the series a lot. So
agreed. With that, as far as our closing thoughts and anything else anybody wanted to mention, other than that, we're probably going to go ahead and sign off for now.
I just want to say to everyone, make sure you get your daily dose of vitamin D. Capitalize on the D. That's it.
That's a conversation that's been resurfacing apparently a lot recently. So yeah, with that and that mental image, thank y'all very much for watching. This is Kool-Aid, and we've had Frank and Waifu Wars. Much appreciated. Thank both of y'all for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem, dude. Probably try to see if either of y'all want to get in on other stuff in the future as well. And with that, thank you for watching. If you want to subscribe, it'd be much appreciated. And we'll see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.